Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you to the finals of the third edition of the 3-minute thesis competition here at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. Really apologize for the inconvenience caused and the delay, but today you can look forward to some fascinating research stories presented to you in a very unique way. Firstly, each presentation is only 3 minutes and the information will be condensed. Secondly, the presented is outstanding, yet simplified for a non-specific but intelligent audience. The participants have spent an incredible amount of time working on their areas of research, fine-tuning their presentations, and it is pretty phenomenal. The first 3MT competition was held at the University of Queensland in 2008 with 160 PhD students competing. In 2009 and 2010, the 3MT competition was promoted to other Australian and New Zealand universities, and the enthusiasm for this concept grew. Due to its adoption in numerous universities, a multinational event was developed, and the inaugural Trans-Tasman 3MT competition was held at the University of Queensland in 2010. In 2011, the popularity for the competition increased, and 3MT competitions are now held in at least 170 universities across more than 17 countries worldwide. The first event in Singapore started in 2013, and it is now in its third year. The 3-minute thesis competition really ticks all the boxes. It's a competition that allows the candidates to spend their time focusing on why are they asking these questions, how are they answering their questions, what are they likely to find or what have they found, and how to capture all of that in a very succinct presentation. This competition trains candidates in their presentation skills, so the competition is supported by training. The candidates have gone through the early heats and passed through the competition to the further rounds, and they finally emerged here today as at the finals. The 3MT is not about dumping one's research or merely reducing the research presentation. It's about communicating and distilling the key message out of one's research activity so that a non-specific but intelligent audience can understand and appreciate it. And we have got encouraging feedback from the participants from the previous competitions, and here are their testimonials. And with that, the 3-minute thesis competition is organized by the Academic Events Committee of the NTU GSC within the guidelines of the official 3MT Organizing Committee from the University of Queensland in Australia. We would like to thank the President's Office, Student Life, Graduate Studies Office, and the Student Affairs Office for their valuable support in organizing this event. For timely updates and photographs or video recordings for this event, please like us at the Facebook page below. Well, we wouldn't have gotten here today without a lot of hard work by some really hardworking people, and we'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge them before moving ahead. Firstly, our panel of 19 judges across the heats and semi-finals who have helped this competition go ahead smoothly. We are truly indebted to them for being able to find time from their busy schedules for us and passing on some really crucial feedback to the candidates to help improve their presentations. And secondly, for the finals today, we have Dr. Yuan Chi Yun, Associate Provost, Graduate Education, NTU. Please give a round of applause for Dr. Yuan Chi Yun. Next up, we have Dr. Kwok Kian Woon, Associate Provost, Student Life of NTU. We have Dr. Kristen Sadler, Director, Student Life at NTU. Last but not least, we have Dr. Peter David Luca, Director, Division of Teaching, Learning and Pedagogy, NTU. Thank you once again for gracing this event and agreeing to be our judges. These are the rules for the event today. A single static PowerPoint presentation is allowed. The slide is to be presented from the beginning of the presentation. No additional electronic devices, media or props are allowed. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes per candidate, and participant exceeding this 3-minute limit will be disqualified. Presentations are to be in spoken word. Presentations commence when the presenter starts their presentation through movement or speech, and the decision made by the judging panel is final. And the judging criteria is based on this: comprehension, content delivery, engagement, organization, and presentation. Each participant will be scored on a scale of 1 to 10 for each parameter, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. Now, what are the prizes can the finalists expect? The first prize is a $2,000, $500 cash prize. First runner will walk away with $1,000. The second runner with $500. And we've introduced a brand new category for this year's 3MT competition, and it is the People's Choice Award. The winner walks away with $400. The procedure for voting for your favorite candidate will be explained after all the presentations. So here are the list of participants that have made it through for the 3MT at NTU 2015 finals. Can you please give them a big round of applause? Participants, please take note of your position as we will be calling you out in this order. Before we begin, let me briefly explain to you how this event is going to proceed. Firstly, please switch all your mobile phones or other beeping devices to the silent mode so as to not interrupt the participants during their presentations. I'll introduce you to 10 of our finalists in the order displayed before, and we will first screen a short introductory video of him or her. Judges, please note that these videos are not to be assessed as part of the final scoring for the participants. Please put your hands together as the participant walks onto the stage and after the end of his or her video. Each of them will then have 3 minutes to present their presentation. We will have one more round of applause at the end of each participant's presentation. After all the presentations are done, we will conduct the audience poll to select the People's Choice Award winner while the judges deliberate on the winners of the 3MT 2015. Well, I hope you guys are ready to be wowed by the amazing participants and their presentations, and I think we are ready to officially kickstart today's grand finale of the 3MT 2015. First up, we have Mr. Kaushik Parida from the School of Materials Science and Engineering. He'll speak on low battery, just tap your fingers on the screen. Let's first hear what Kaushik has to say about himself.
Hello everyone, I'm Kaushik and I love ice creams. Well, if that counts for an hobby. As all of you can figure it out, I'm an Indian and I'm doing my PhD in the School of Material Science and Engineering. And I know all of you had your lunch and I'm sitting down here. So just sit back and enjoy my talk. That's it. Thank you.
Every one of us present in this room use a portable electronics, be it a mobile phone, a tablet, or a laptop. But when this message pops up on your screen, you run to the nearest electrical connection to get your device charged. Just imagine that on a fine Sunday morning, you set out on your bike to explore the beautiful city of Singapore. And as you pass by the magnificent buildings, you look at it and enjoy. And suddenly, there's a huge crash. The next moment, you're lying on the ground, bleeding. You reach out to your mobile phone to call for help. And as you take it out, this message pops up again. Now, if I tell you that I'm working on a technology that has the potential to empower you to charge your smartphones just by tapping your fingers on it, or charge your laptops by walking a few steps. Well, this may sound like science fiction, but nanogenerators are making it possible. It's a device which, on application of a mechanical force, generates an electrical energy. The mechanical force required is simple human motion like finger tapping, walking, or just hand movements. Nanogenerators use a material called piezoelectric. Piezo means force, and electric, you all know. Piezoelectric materials basically have a positive charge and a negative charge, separated by a distance called a dipole. And when an external mechanical force is applied, the distance between the positive charge and the negative charge changes, giving a moment to this dipole called a dipole moment. And this dipole moment creates the electrical energy needed to power devices. But there's a catch to it. Currently, the amount of energy harvested is not enough. And here's where I come in. I'm specifically trying to enhance the energy harvested. And I'm doing it by changing the properties of the material. Specifically, I'm creating porous structures. So my material is behaving like a sponge. And like a sponge, it can absorb a lot of mechanical energy without getting damaged or deformed. By creating porous structures, we are able to increase the energy harvested by 3 times as compared to conventional devices, because the dipole moment is higher as it can absorb a lot of mechanical energy. Well, including me, a lot of researchers are putting a humongous effort to take this field forward. So very soon, we'll be powering our smartphones or portable electronics using nano generators. So the next time this message pops up, just tap your fingers on the screen. Thank you.
Our second panelist for the day is Ms. Anjali J. Kumar from the School of Chemical and Biomedical Engineering. She'll speak on powering the future with graphene-based supercapacitors. Let's first hear what Anjali has to say about herself.
Hello, this is Anjali. I'm a second year student from the School of Chemical and Biomedical Engineering. I hail from India. Talking about my hobbies, I'm very passionate about music, reading and writing. And about the 3-minute thesis competition, I'm very glad that I made it to the finals of this competition. It was a wonderful experience altogether, right from preparing the slide and even the talk. The best part I would say was getting right into the shoes of the so-called non-specialist audience and gauging the understanding from a totally layman's perspective. I really hope that I've done justice to the 3 minutes that has been given to me, and I hope you guys enjoyed 3 minutes in my finals. Thank you.
Wished you had a magic wand which could charge your phone in less than seconds? With the increasing demand of energy sources, it's crucial to fuel the growing needs of man. A capacitor is a simple energy storage device which we use in most of our electronic gadgets, whereas a supercapacitor is a high-efficiency capacitor which has the ability to store humongous amount of charge and at the same time deliver this huge amount of charge in a very short time. Now these supercapacitors can be clean and sustainable energy storage systems and can be used in a wide range of applications like portable electronics and even smoke-free electric systems. But the real challenge lies in finding advanced materials and material composites which can serve this purpose. Thus, in my research, I aim at finding such material composites with a material called graphene as my base material. Now, graphene is a carbonaceous material and is often called the future material because of its excellent properties like strength, flexibility, and an inherent charge storage capacity. Now, making material composites is quite analogous to cooking. You add the right amount of ingredients, you mix it in the right proportion, provided you know what each one is supposed to do, and you make use of a simple preparation method, you come out with a yummy dish. Likewise, I study the properties and characteristics of different materials, understand how each one can add value to my final product, devise a simple recipe of my own which can easily be replicated, and I come out with a supercapacitor cuisine. Now, one such composite which I prepared in my lab, I employed graphene as the base material and also employed some materials which were cost effective, environment friendly and earth abundant. And believe it or not, this composite gave me an extremely large charge storage capacity, and it even retained 89% of its initial charge storage capacity even after using it for some 1,000 long cycles. Now this highlights the untapped potential that we have in existing materials. Climate change, global warming and pollution have been haunting our planet from a very long time. It's high time we pay heed to these red alerts. Now, Stone Age did not end because we ran out of stones. We just transitioned to better solutions. With ideas and technology, the same opportunity lies in front of us for a cleaner and greener tomorrow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I took 3 minutes of your precious time today. But let me wind up with this high hope that my magic material will save your 30 minutes someday in future. Thank you and have an energetic afternoon.
Thank you, Anjali. Next up, we have Mr. Jitin John Verghese from the School of Chemical and Biomedical Engineering. He'll speak on looking at chemical reactions differently. Let's first hear what Jitin has to say about himself.
Hello everyone, I'm Jitin John Verghese and I'm a final year PhD student in the research group of Professor Sameer Hemant Mushrif in the School of Chemical and Biomedical Engineering in NTU. In addition to research, I love listening to music of all genres, both instrumental and vocals. I'm an avid photographer and I love traveling and cooking. The 3MT competition has been a wonderful platform to listen to fellow graduate students about their research across disciplines and across schools. The preparation for this competition also made me reflect on my own research of what excites me and what motivates me to go on. It also makes me put into perspective the broad potential of my research contribution to the current state of the art.
I perform quantum chemical computer simulations of molecules colliding against each other at high speeds and in the process undergo chemical reactions. In simple words, this just means I use advanced computer softwares to show me how molecules move, collide, and react based on relevant parameters. My research focuses on the simplest hydrocarbon molecule, methane. It has a carbon atom and it's bonded to 4 hydrogen atoms. Methane has been of great interest to the scientific community because it's abundantly available on the earth and it's a potential alternate solution and a source to replace petroleum and coal, which are exhaustible resources, to make chemicals like ethylene. Ethylene is the basic building block of polythene, the different kinds of plastic materials that we use every day. Its production and use is a $150 billion industry globally, and so it's highly desirable that we convert methane to ethylene. But this reaction has been a challenge for a very long time, and it continues to be one. Methane can be converted into ethylene if the carbon-hydrogen bonds break and a carbon-carbon bond forms between them. But the challenge here is the carbon-hydrogen bonds of methane break only at temperatures over 1000 degrees Celsius or in the presence of a very strong catalyst. So, in my simulations, I investigate methane molecules colliding against each other. Molecules moving at very high speeds have a lot of kinetic energy. But when they collide, this kinetic energy gets transformed into potential energy. Potential energy in the molecule means the chemical bonds in them are stretching and bending and vibrating. And beyond a point, the bonds break. So in my simulations, I observe the carbon-hydrogen bonds of the colliding methane molecules break because a carbon-carbon bond forms between them. The result is ethylene. The greatest potential of this chemical reaction pathway is, now, this can happen even at room temperature and without a catalyst. So my research lays the foundation for collision-induced reactions of methane as an alternate mechanism to convert it into ethylene and larger hydrocarbons at low temperatures, lower costs, and without a catalyst. And this is how I'm looking at chemical reactions differently. Thank you.
To speak on how do entrepreneurs manage uncertainties, let's first hear what Jin Young has to say about herself.
Hi, I'm Jin Young Kim, a PhD student from business school. I'm from Korea and living in Singapore more than 5 years with my husband and my 2-year-old daughter, who has been not so patient audience for my 3M2 practice so far. I'm very grateful that I was given this opportunity, and today I'll do my best not to waste your 3 minutes. I hope you will like my presentation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Ms. Jin Young on stage.
I studied 38 high-tech startups in the US and found out that there are 4 strategic mechanisms represented in boxes here, underlying the seemingly random chain of entrepreneurial decisions. They all started with the preliminary goals, meaning how to apply their technologies. And then they searched for necessary resources, combined it with their technologies to come up with their temporary solutions. While doing that, successful startups generate options, which are the ideas that are not good enough to be pursued right away, but at the same time, not bad enough to be discarded completely. They put these options on the shelf and keep an eye on them while deliberating on what they could do with them. At the same time, they scan the environment to identify any opportunity they can capture quickly and combine with their options to transform their goals. Think about yourself. You occasionally go through the food items in your pantry trying to figure out what sort of dishes I can cook with them. And then you go to grocery shopping and find the bargain item. To be able to quickly act upon this opportunity, you gotta have a simple rule, such as, I'll buy if it's half-priced. If you are very well aware of what you have at home and the varieties of the possible dishes, you can add this bargain item and quickly come up with much diverse dishes you could cook. meaning you're transforming your goals. Successful startups are the ones that they have both complex strategic schema and simple rules, so that they not only capture the fleeting opportunities, but same time maximize them using the existing options. What's interesting here is this is not a single cycle model, but an iterative one. While balancing complexity and simplicity, successful startups continuously transform their goals according to the options and contingencies they have. Now moving to the billion-dollar question, multiple studies have concluded that learn how to do it. Just like physical exercise helps you build muscles, you can train yourself to build the cognitive muscle. In this case, balance, complexity, and simplicity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jinyang. Next up, we have Mr. Teo Chishan from the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering. He will speak on self-healing of bendable concrete under repeated loading. Let's first hear what Teo has to say about himself.
Hi, I'm Jishen. I'm from China. I'm from the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering. As a PhD student, in the lab, I get the sand, the cement ready and mix them, cast them. After home, I do similar things. I get the food ready, get the seasonings ready, and mix them, cast them, cook them, and do the wash. And as for my hobby, I love the food here in Singapore. I love durian, the sweet one, not the bitter one. I love Batman, the Christian Bale Batman, not the George Clooney Batman. And I love football, not the American football, the English football. So far, I really enjoyed this competition. I hope you enjoy it as well. Thank you.
It may surprise you that as long as the crack is fine enough, most of the concrete in the presence of water has the potential to heal themselves through very simple chemistry, as you can see here. However, most cracks in traditional concrete are too wide, which makes the so-called self-healing impossible. Recently, the engineers invented a new type of concrete called bendable concrete by adding short polymer fibers into the system. Due to the fiber reinforcement, the cracks in bendable concrete are much finer, and as we expected, very good self-healing appears. It seems a happy ending of the story, but let's go back to the bone fracture analogy. What if you keep using your broken leg? It probably will never heal. The same problem applies to the bendable concrete as well. In many real applications, such as the road surface, there will be thousands of cars passing by every day, and the repeat loading would gradually deteriorate the fiber. As a result, the crack gets wider and wider, and the self-healing ability disappears with time. My PhD study tries to identify the source of such fiber deterioration. How did I achieve this? I embed one single fiber into the concrete, applied repeat loading to the fiber, and traced the microstructure change for hours and even for days. In the test, I found that the fiber was gradually separated from the surrounding cement, get stretched and relaxed repeatedly. In the meanwhile, the strong friction at the interface would gradually damage the fiber and even rupture the fiber. By understanding this, we intentionally coat some oil on the fiber surface. So the friction is mitigated and the fiber rupture is delayed. Now the new version of bendable concrete has very good self-healing even after a long time of repeat loading. We expect that the new material can double the surface life of the road surface. Millions of dollars could be saved from the reduced maintenance, and about 10% of the global carbon dioxide emission can be cut from the cement industry. And all of these important changes would start from understanding about a tiny, short fiber. Thank you.
Thank you, Shishan. have our sixth finalist today. She's Miss Tanaya Chowdhury from the Interdisciplinary Graduate School. She'll speak on smart air conditioning for the future.
Hi, my name is Tanaya. I'm a PhD student at the Interdisciplinary Graduate School Energy Research Institute. As per my hobbies, I love painting, especially oil painting. In my leisure time, I like to capture the scenic landscapes of our campus. I also love dancing, especially Indian classical dance, and I love exploring new places. I'm quite passionate about my research, and I feel so privileged to be able to share this passion with you through the 3MT event. I'll try my best to convey the contribution of my research, and I hope you enjoy my presentation. Thank you.
Imagine you're about to work out in an air-conditioned room. You set the aircon to a comfortable temperature and start working out. 20 minutes later, you start feeling quite hot. You start sweating. So what do? You need to pause your workout to go ahead and reduce the aircon temperature. Now, wouldn't you wish the aircon was smart enough to understand this on its own? My research aims to achieve this by building an air conditioning system which can detect your comfort level to change the aircon setting to suit your comfort needs without you having to move an inch. But there is a catch here. Human comfort is very subjective, and hence it is difficult to quantify it. So how do we solve this problem? Well, I'm using human body parameters to do the trick. We know our skin temperature varies with the ambient temperature and represents our thermal sensation. So for example, if your skin temperature is high, it could mean you're feeling hot. But is that always the case? Let's see. Say you have fever, so your skin temperature would of course be high. But would you be feeling hot? No, right? You would be shivering. However, your pulse rate and sweat rate would be abnormal. Therefore, all the body parameters when taken together can tell the actual story. This drew my interest to study the relationship between human body comfort and human body parameters such as skin temperature, pulse rate, sweat rate, and blood pressure. I have conducted several experiments and studied varied subjects, and the data I collected shows quite interesting results as presented on the right. It shows strong interdependence between all the body parameters and the thermal comfort reported by the participants. Based on my observations, I'm developing an algorithm to control the aircon. The occupants of the room will have wearable sensors which will collect the body parameters and send this data to a central processing hub which will use this algorithm to control the aircon. These aircons will cool only as much as required, nothing more, nothing less. This will also save energy which is otherwise spent in extra cooling, thus increasing building energy efficiency. These aircons of the future, the smart aircons, will make sure you sleep better, study better, work better, you lead a life of comfort while making the earth a greener place to live in. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Mr. Lim Wei Shan from the School of Materials Science and Engineering. He'll speak on drug-eluting stent, the game changer of treating cancer in urethra. Let's first hear what Wei Shan has to say about himself.
Hi, I'm Wei Shan. I'm currently studying a PhD in the School of Materials Science in drug-eluting urethral stents. Currently my third year. I enjoy traveling in my free time. My experience with 3MT has been a very pleasant journey so far, and I hope you will like my 3MT presentation today.
Urethral cancer is a highly pervasive problem affecting over 360,000 patients in the United States, with a market size worth over $1 billion. The gold standard of treating urethral cancer is surgery, but the process is not desirable because it is invasive, expensive, and highly traumatizing. Therefore, there's a shift to cheaper and less invasive techniques such as chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a process in which a tiny tube called a catheter is maneuvered through the urinary tract to spray out anti-cancer drugs into the urethral tissues to kill the cancer in the urethra. However, chemotherapy has several disadvantages. For example, number one, The drugs administered cannot reach the upper ureter easily. Therefore, the technique is commonly reserved for patients with the cancer found in the lower and middle ureter. Secondly, because the ureteral tissue is highly impermeable to drugs absorption, therefore, the drugs are administered at very high dosages, which could lead to potential side effects such as bone marrow suppression. And thirdly, the patient didn't just have to go through the process once, but 6 times. Could you imagine that? 6 times, each time a week over the course of 6 weeks. And therefore, we have identified the obvious patient's pain, to which we have developed a unique, novel, never seen before technology in urology, the drug-eluting stent. STENT, a stent, is a medical device commonly implanted in the ureter post-medical procedure to allow for the dilatations of the ureter during recovery. Now, by coating a layer of drug on the conventional stent surface, we allow the drugs to be produced slowly at low dosage over a long sustained period of time to any selected sections of the ureter. This means it's safer, does not require multiple treatment, and the drugs can reach the upper ureter. More interestingly, to overcome the problem of the high permeability of the ureteral tissues, we added an additional swallowable layer on top of the drug coating, in which can swell and expand in absorption of the urine to contact with the ureter to transfer more effectively the drugs from the drug coating into the ureteral tissues. I'm very glad to inform that to this date, we have developed the first working prototype and are moving into the next challenge of evaluating efficacy in an animal model. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the game changer of treating cancer in urology, the drug-eluting stent. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Our 8th finalist of the day is Ms. Nikita Radhakrishnan from the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. She'll speak on intelligent building planning. Let's first hear what Nikita has to say about herself.
Hi, I'm Nikita. I'm doing my PhD in Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I was born and brought up in Dubai, where I stayed for the first 18 years of my life. I moved to India then to do my undergraduate degree, after which I immediately came to Singapore. I'm very passionate about dancing and travel, both of which I try to do as much as possible here. When it comes to dance, I'm mostly self-taught, so wherever I go as an engineer after my PhD, I hope to develop a part-time career in dance. Thank you, GSC, for organizing the 3-minute thesis competition. It has been an amazing experience.
The building sector is responsible for at least half of the energy consumed by the country, and half of the building needs comes from air conditioning services. Yes, it is surprising that something as simple as switching on our air conditioners every day contributes to 1/4 of the energy needs of the country. It is also responsible for 40% carbon dioxide emissions. One way to deal with this problem is by developing new technology that provides us cold air and doesn't consume as much energy. Another way is by simply planning the use of our existing resources efficiently. The current practice related to air conditioning services is very straightforward. It demands that all rooms in a building be cooled to a preset temperature that is regarded comfortable to all occupants. This doesn't change with respect to the said rooms being occupied or not. So it is very common that empty rooms are cooled for hours together for no use at all. My research aims at developing an automated system in which every room is controlled by a tiny computer module. The module is given information about the number of occupants, the weather conditions of the day, and the room temperature requirements. With all this information in hand, it calculates the amount of cooling the room would require for that day. The algorithm that I have developed requires these modules to send their demands to the main building system. The building system then calculates how to allocate these cooling services in an optimized manner, drawing considerably less energy. This system could adapt to any existing or new building technology at minimal cost. It could be extended to heating systems in colder countries. It has the added advantage of being able to adapt to any uncertainties very efficiently, like sudden cancellation of meetings. All this while maintaining human comfort. From current experiments, I have achieved up to 40% energy savings by simple planning of existing resources. With better technology and more robust algorithms, even greater savings could be achieved. The Singapore government has proposed to make at least 80% buildings more energy efficient by 2030. I'm fairly confident that my research could contribute to the government goal of a more sustainable cooling method, especially in a period of history where we're concentrating so much on energy conservation and climate change. Sustainability is the ultimate goal. Energy management allows us to have an energy strategy for the future. Energy misused cannot be excused. Thank you.
Our ninth and penultimate finalist for the day is Ms. Supriya Satyanarayana from the School of Computer Engineering. She'll speak on compute-efficient techniques for vision-based patient wellness monitoring. Let's first hear what Supriya has to say about herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Supriya. I'm in my 4th year of PhD and in the School of Computer Engineering. And other than research, I enjoy learning Indian classical dance, which is called Bharatanatyam. And I also love to sing. And I'm passionate about exploring new places, nature. And I love the attitude of learning new things. And I'm on my journey of my self-discovery. And nice to meet you all. Thank you.
John was a heart patient and he had a nurse to take care of him. Recently, John was resting and his nurse had stepped out for a while. John began to sweat, feel tired, feel nauseated, painful. John was having a heart attack and there was no one to assist him at that time, and John passed away. Had someone been there with John at that time, he could have been saved. Such situations are common today, more than you may have heard. Statistics show that thousands of patients die every year due to lack of nurses to monitor them. The world is turning towards technology for an answer. Today, if you see in hospitals, we have devices to monitor the blood pressure, heart rate, etc. These devices are necessary for monitoring the body signals, but they have some limitations. Most of these devices require physical contact with the patient. Is that always possible? What if there are times when the patient does not want to wear the device or is unable to wear it? We need complementary monitoring systems. And one such sensor is the most widely used and available sensors, which is the cameras. Cameras are contactless sensors. By adding intelligence to the cameras, we can make the cameras smart cameras. How? First, I use a camera facing the patient to capture the images of the patient's face. Second, I apply image processing techniques to extract the facial expressions. The smart camera can then tell whether the patient was sleeping or was he feeling uneasy, nauseated, painful, or feeling fatigue, or showing no movement at all, and then alert the nurse when some emergency occurs. When I started to work on this problem, I realized that the current techniques are quite complex and I may require a computer to do this. Imagine having a huge computer in every home or hospital ward to do this, especially in developing countries where they may not even be able to afford it. We need to have such a system on a small, portable device like your mobile phones. My approach to tackle this challenge is by developing simple yet efficient techniques which are suitable for portable devices. So far, I've been able to detect certain conditions like drowsiness, uneasiness, and some epileptic seizures. My mission is to be able to detect many more such abnormal conditions. We hope to see life-saving and intelligent pair of eyes in every home or hospital ward. We hope to make a difference to thousands of lives like John's. We hope to make the world a safer place to live. And with that hope, I thank you.
We've now come to the end of our last participant for the day, and he is Mr. Matthew Wallace from the National Institute of Education. He'll speak on second language listening. It's all relative. Let's first hear what Matthew has to say about himself.
Hello, my name is Matthew Wallace. I'm a third-year PhD student at the English Language and Literature Department at NIE. I'm originally from the US, but I lived in Japan for about 9 years before I moved to Singapore. And when I was in Japan, I was an English teacher and a curriculum administrator, I guess you could call me, where I designed, implemented, and maintained a 3-year English curriculum with Japanese and non-Japanese teachers. And the reason I came to NIE into Singapore was to work with one of the researchers that had a profound effect on my teaching and my curriculum design, and that was with the incomparable Professor Christingo. And I entered the 3MT competition for fun, and I've enjoyed my experience thus far in making my abstract ideas more accessible to a general audience. Today, I want to tell the true story of a very important international figure, about a Japanese student named Yoshi Hattori, who traveled to the US to study English. And as you'd expect, like most second language learners, Yoshi struggled at first with trying to communicate with his American peers. Eventually, he started to make some friends and started getting invited to social events, like parties. And in fact, Yoshi was invited to the social event of the year, the Halloween party. Now, this was a testament to Yoshi's oral communication development, because for students like Yoshi in Japan or in China or in Korea, English class primarily focuses on reading and grammar, and there's a lot less focus on listening. And the reason is because we simply don't know that much about listening. Now, there are a few things that we do know. We do know that the more words we know of a language, our vocabulary knowledge, the more we are aware of our own capabilities, our metacognition, the better our short-term memory is, and the more we know about the topic of what we're listening to, the better we understand what we hear. But we don't know how these factors all work together to help us understand what we hear. And for students like Yoshi, this is a problem, right? Because it leaves him with undeveloped listening skills. But Yoshi was doing pretty well. He was invited to the social event of the year, the Halloween party, and as he walked up to the house where the party was, something very strange happened. Nobody was home. So he turned to leave, and then he heard a voice calling him from the garage, inviting him in, saying, "Please, please." So Yoshi walked into the garage, and then bam, he was shot and killed. See, the owner wasn't saying please at all. He was telling Yoshi to freeze, don't move. Now, this is an extreme example of what can happen as a result of a lack of knowledge. We don't know how these factors all work together to help us understand what we're listening to. And to address this very important need, I'm going to Japanese senior high schools to measure each of these factors, vocabulary knowledge, topical knowledge, metacognition, and short-term memory, using valid and reliable tests. And then I'm going to use advanced statistics to see how these factors all work together to help us understand what we're listening to. Now, the results should tell us how important each factor is to listening, which in turn will help classroom teachers decide what to focus on in their listening classes, so that what happened to Yoshi won't happen again. Thank you.
Okay, we will be announcing the winners for the 2015 3MT competition. I would now like to invite Dr. Kristen Sadler to do the honors. Dr. Sadler, could you please come on up?
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for taking your time out of your Friday afternoons to come down and support our wonderful 3MT participants. Before we go ahead and announce the winners, each of the judges would actually just like to share a couple of their own thoughts with you here today. So no more than 3 minutes, maybe no more than 2 minutes each. 1 minute, I don't know if they can do it in 1 minute. So personally, yes, I would really like to express my appreciation to the audience and also the hard work that the participants have put in that went through the heats, the finals, and the semi-finals, and of course the final. And I estimate there's probably about 150 or 200 graduate students here today, so I really look forward to having you all compete in next year's competition. So thank you, and I'll pass over to who would like to have a few words. Peter.
This is the third year that I've taken part in this, not only as a judge but also doing the initial workshops. And one of the things that I'd like to observe is that over the 3 years there's been an increasing curve in terms of the quality and the participation in the 3MT. It's been brilliant. It started off a little bit slow a couple of years ago, and now it's kind of moved up. And the other thing is the number of people who have come to see it this year. I mean, we've got a pretty full lecture theatre here, which is fantastic. I'd just like to encourage people to participate in this. I think it's a really good thing to do. You know, if you can actually manage to encapsulate your thesis in 3 minutes and say something meaningful, as everybody has today, then it's going to help you in your thesis in any case. So it's great. Congratulations to all of the people who took part today. It's been really enjoyable. The whole thing is a great experience. Thank you.
I'm Professor Yu. I'm the Associate Provost for Graduate Education. It's very fun to be involved this afternoon. Actually, I enjoyed it much better than I thought. I knew I was going to enjoy it, but you know, it's really pleasant to see so many people trying to be so concise in communicating in a fun way, you know, what their research topic is about. I think the GSC did a great job in organizing this, and it's great to see a fantastic turnout for this. You know, I once spoke to a senior government official in Singapore, and they say that, you know, when you want to, and many of these people have to pitch for a budget, you know, in front of the cabinet. They said when you do so, you are only allowed one A4 page, double spacing one page, okay? And that is to pitch for $500 million, okay? One single page, right? And you have 5 minutes. Wow, think about that. How concise you have to be. So I think this is very good practice. Not only, I mean, for your PhD, but also for your career. So good job, everyone. Glad that everyone had fun.
You know, there was a poll in America, apparently, to ask people what were their greatest fears. And the number one greatest fear was death. And the number two greatest fear was public speaking. Right? So public speaking or speaking to audiences happens to be the one thing that our graduate students, and in fact all our students, must do sooner or later, right? And it's great that we are practicing and doing it way before we graduate, right? This is good training, it's good fun, and we are doing it in a way that is both very serious because the topics are serious, but also in a way that can really carry across our ideas. So when you go out there in whatever work that you do, right, I'm just very proud that NTU has provided this kind of experience. And when you go out there with all these kinds of experiences, go and show them what you are made of. Thank you.
Okay, without any further ado, we have 4 prizes to announce this afternoon. The first one being the People's Choice Award, followed by our second runner-up, our first runner-up, and our grand final winner. And of course, I have to say that in my eyes, everybody is a winner, regardless of the prizes put into the tray. So, our People's Choice winner, as voted by our non-specialist yet very intelligent audience, and will be presented by Prof. Yuchi Yun. And the People's Choice winner today is Anjali. Okay, moving on to the second runner-up for the 2015 3-minute thesis competition at NTU, and the prize will be presented by Dr. Peter Luca. And the second runner-up for the 3-minute thesis competition at NTU 2015 is Matthew. Our first runner-up today is presented by Prof. Kwok Kian Woon. And our first runner-up for today's competition is, drumroll, Supriya. And I must add that as we were deliberating as the judges. It was a very tough competition today. The standard was very high. The quality of all of the participants was outstanding. The winner for the 2015 3-minute thesis will be presented by Prof. Yuchiyun, or presented to Prof. Yuchiyun. I think you would have went over the 3 minutes. Winner for the 2015 3-minute thesis competition at NTU. Congratulations to Tanaya.
There is not much audience left in the auditorium anymore. They've gone out for the food. I can understand that after 2 hours of sitting and listening to all the participants. But we definitely did have a house full today, and I'm so glad that after all the hard work that the team has put in, we got a house full audience, and that is the award we have. So first of all, I would like to thank the audience for coming. The participants, I think some of whom are still here. Without you having participated, the event would not have been what it has been today. The judges for the finals, Dr. Yuchiyun, Associate Provost, Graduate Education NTU. Thank you very much, sir, for finding time for coming down and being the judge of today's event. Dr. Kwok Kian Moon, Associate Provost, Student Life NTU. Thank you, sir, once again for finding time to come for the event. Dr. Kirsten Sadler, Director, Students Life. Thank you, ma'am. We owe you a lot. I know that. You and your team for the constant support. Dr. Peter Luker, thank you for the workshops and thank you for being so supportive today to get the mics. Melissa, of course, I should thank you for being so supportive in the beginning of the event. We had a 20-minute delay, but without them, I think it would have been so much worse. And of course, Alison, Diana, and for your support for publicizing the event, and the entire team of Academic Events Committee. I know many of you must have got many emails, maybe 5, maybe 6 or 7. We did send many emails through many channels, some of which landed in the junk. So we tried to do a lot of hard work in the publicity, and I'm glad that we got a house full audience today.